Welcome to the Horse Speak Book Club. I'm Laura Wilsey here taking you on a journey of the Horse Speak Trilogy. The Horse Speak team is dedicated to giving horses a voice and being their well-deserved advocates. We offer online courses, a weekly video club where we watch videos from herd dynamics to riding. We also offer in-person clinics, and if you'd like to learn more, please check out our website at horsespeakacademy.com. This is a judgment-free zone. Everyone here has a varied horsemanship background, so we ask that everyone be kind and keep the environment safe. So here we begin. Chapter 2, Horse Speak Philosophy. The beginning of learning horse speak starts when we allow ourselves to go beyond looking to truly seeing. As human beings, we like to talk about stuff, name stuff, and we like to tell stories about stuff. However, horses do not objectify the way we do. We name everything, and knowing the names of things gives us a certain sense of control and power over the world. If we walk into a room, our brain names all the objects there: door, window, wall, rocking chair, book, cat, and so on. Because we know what that is, we no longer fear it. Just think. If you were if you were abducted by aliens and opened your eyes to find yourself on a spaceship, imagine how terrifying it would be to look around at a bunch of strange objects and not be able to identify them. We use our reason to objectify and generalize the world and do not need a direct experience of things to understand them. Horses, however, are the opposite of this. They exist in a river of experience that they are constantly aware of and commenting about. They are sensory machines. All their senses are firing at high levels to keep them constantly hyper-aware of their environment. So if a horse expresses concern about his world right in the middle of a conversation we are having with him, all other thoughts must be put on hold while we address his concerns. Luckily, the more successful we are in retraining ourselves to do this, the more secure horses feel about the world. This brings nearly an end to spooking, and when a spook does happen, horses tend to regroup with us rather than believing they need to escape from us. And in the box, I am a firm believer that without speculation, there is no good and original observation by Charles Darwin, 1857. Learning to observe. It is common practice to look at a horse and immediately analyze his features and parse what he can do or can't do. We need to realize that fixating on a horse's features, for example, limits our ability to show up the way the horse needs us to: present, honest, and calm. I have often told an owner not to talk about her horse right in front of him. If she wants to tell him a story about his behavior, I suggest we do it outside the barn. On countless occasions, I have witnessed a horse begin pinning his ears, prancing around, and fidgeting as his humans get stirred up and fixated on the details of the horse's backstory. Horses are masters at observing proprioceptive shifts. The almost imperceptible changes in our bodies. We can get emotional. We must attempt to observe the horse's micro-movements too, but many people find it challenging to stop the internal dialogue and just be present, allowing themselves to see what is really there in front of them without editorializing. Learning to observe without a little note taker in the back of your mind, comparing everything to everything else and asking why. All the time takes practice. Taking notes and asking why is a broader context and is fine, but the goal here is to suspend it while you are learning to observe. I'm going to go with the gray box. As soon as a child learns to talk, he also learns what uh, don't touch that means. Horses still want to touch everything. When we don't allow some space for their exploration or a way to tell them we think the objects are safe, they may grow more fearful.
Is this anthropomorphism? What I am attempting to do may seem to fly in the face of what some consider traditional core beliefs about horses. Wikipedia defines scientific method as follows. By reducing complex systems to smaller parts, scientific method is a body of techniques for investigating phenomena, acquiring new knowledge, or correcting and integrating previous knowledge with new criteria, using a method of inquiry to attain empirical or measurable evidence. All I have attempted to do is take the complex system of horse body language and reduce it to smaller parts. The evidence shows up as the horses respond authentically to the human version of horse body language. I am not a scientist, but I enjoy science and find its logic attractive. In fact, my mother was a veterinary technician when I was growing up, and I spent most of my free time hanging out with her at the family-run clinic when I wasn't sick myself. Growing up handling animals in distress and surrounded by medical practices gave me a deep respect for science. Having spent much of my own childhood in oxygen tents and plugged into IVs, I instinctively knew to reach out to the sick animals with care and understanding. Through lessons and observation, I learned far more than just how to pat the kitty. I found out how to handle animals in distress and how to read the signs and signals that might indicate you are about to get bitten or scratched. Of course, as much as I appreciate the wonders science has brought to us in terms of medicine, the fact is that in the name of science, some horrible experiments were performed on animals for many years. This practice engendered the idea that animals are no more than groupings of behaviors and reactions to stimuli, and therefore beneath humans. For a scientist to show compassion when involved in that sort of research was for him to be considered unobjective and likely tainting the results of the experiment by projecting his inner conflict, preferences, and emotions onto the object or animal in question. Conversely, we have a compulsion to truly anthropomorphize animals all over the place. We give them human characteristics, thoughts, and behaviors in children's books, television commercials, and movies, on social media, you name it. Many argue humans need to feel connected to nature, and in the void created by urban living and technology-driven lifestyles, we have found a way to allow our feeling space by creating fantasy images of animals. From the box. If we feel ourselves emotionally affected by the behavior of an animal, it is a clear indication that we have intuitively discovered a similarity between its behavior and human behavior. We should not conceal this in our description. Conrad Lawrence, Here Am I, Where Are You, from 1991. We base most of our decisions on feelings, and whether we like it or not, we can get offended or frustrated with horses simply because we have assigned them anthropomorphic qualities. He knows what he should do. He's just being stubborn. Don't let him get away with it. He's trying to fool you. Horses are inherently lazy. You must get after them. He's not respecting you. And he's my big baby. He takes such good care of me. He's such a ham. And so on and so forth. These are all common misinterpretations of behaviors seen in the horse world, and they unfortunately drive a great deal of what we do with our horses. The fact is, we anthropomorphize because both humans and horses are mammals, and we both have feelings, attachments, conflicts, and the desire to feel safe, as a few examples. But when we assign human emotions to a horse's reactions, that is often where the source of conflict comes in and the gap shows up. The problem is not whether an animal's feelings are valid in a laboratory. None of us lives in a laboratory. The pro-
Oops.
accurately as we can without dumping our preconceived notions all over it. Horses not only have feelings, they are feeling-based creatures. The way they feel is one of the things that draws us to them. Horses have horse emotions, and humans have human ones, but together we can share the best of ourselves when we learn how. What Horse Speak offers is a way to clarify both our observations and our ability to interpret them.
Thank you,
And in
Violet.
the box. Oh, should I read the
Oh, yeah,
box?
read the box and then, yeah, we'll switch. Thank you.
Fear of the dangers of anthropomorphism has caused ethologists to neglect many interesting phenomena, and it has become apparent that they could afford a little disciplined indulgence.
Beautiful.
Robert Hind, Ethology, 1982.
Thank you so much. Danuta?
Where rapport comes from. Most of us are not involved in scientific equine research, nor are we in a cavalry regiment. In cavalry training, horses and riders went through boot camp together. They also lived together, which nurtured the intense bonds that comrades form under such circumstances. I have seen some touching black and white photos from the turn of the century, in which cavalry soldiers and their horses appear to be demonstrating what I would call a very deep rapport with each other. However, in our modern world, the majority of us show up to ride our horses a few times a week, at most. Even if riding lessons are treated like military schooling, it still does not have the same effect it would if the horse and rider were living and working together and relying on each other in the way they would if they were in boot camp, labouring together, eating, sleeping, cleaning up together, and enjoying leisure time too, together. Consider the police dog, who must live with his handler full time to attain the depth of relationship necessary for the dog's continued and sustained effort in his work. The desire for an obedient push-button response from horses and ourselves when handling or riding them, when the relationship has not had the benefit of being cultivated and nurtured, is sure to be disappointing. In lieu of the time and energy it would take to actively live day in and day out in the sort of scenario likely to create that depth of relationship we crave, we have come to rely upon methods or systems that are still based on obedience but aim for communication. There are many modern horsemanship techniques out there that promise a safe, willing horse if you follow their rules just right. However, safe and willing is not truly attainable if the horse has not given his heart over to you. The outside of a horse can certainly be drilled into compliance, but the inside of a horse is a whole other thing. The challenge with horses, as I have come to understand it, is that we want two opposing values to be reached. We want obedience, but we also want love. Obey me and love me are two entirely different expectations. I have experienced horses who have incredible loyalty and would work for me all day long, but my goal is also to reach the inner self of those horses and create a situation in which their skin and heart is in the game with me, not in obedience to me. This may sound like a picky word choice, but sometimes tiny shifts in awareness create a waterfall of change. It is categorically wrong to say that animals don't have thoughts and emotions, just like it is wrong to say they are completely the same as us. Carl Safina, Beyond Words, What Animals Think and Feel. While on the subject of words, I'm using some catchphrases in this body of work that will certainly sound like anthropomorphizing. And there is a reason for that. I'm working in the communication system of horses, and there are quite a few groupings of signals within that. It is necessary to assign labels both in order to learn the system and to gain a feeling of what its intricacies in fact mean. For instance, I use the term "all shucks" to refer to the horse lowering his head to touch his muzzle to the ground when he is not eating. This signal is a comment about pressure or tension or intensity. If the horse lowers his head while approaching you, he is lowering the pressure to not offend you, in the same way he would when approaching another horse. If you are approaching him, he lowers his head and tucks it to the side, he may be asking you to slow down or decrease your energy. If he lowers his head and sniffs your boot, he may be commenting on how close you are to standing to him. He may feel crowded and is asking your feet to please move back and away. There are many more examples and nuances, so I simply call this action "all shucks" to remind the human thinking of that phrase to lower his or her intensity. I'm not just suggesting the horse is actually saying or thinking "all shucks." Honestly, I could have just called it "lower the intensity," but that sounds boring. Each term I use in Horse Speak is a catchphrase intended to remind us of not only the grouping of signals, but also the right feeling to apply to that grouping. To take a visual language, how horses communicate, and turn it into a verbal language, phrases we understand, so that we can approximate the mechanical and energetic effect of a signal is not easy. In fact, if you want to call the signal something else, be my guest. The bottom line here is that my aim is not only to teach methods that resonate with and are understood by a crowd of behaviorists at university. I want to help everyone.
Thank you,
The
Did.
box.
Oh, the box. Sorry, I keep forgetting about that.
My experience with Horse Speak has been a clearing of the mist, a sort of awakening, if you will. Once a person catches on to the basic system, the results that the horses offer are consistently positive and consistently lasting.
Beautiful. Thank you. Nancy?
The nature of language. So what is language anyway? According to Wikibooks, contributors to the text Introduction to Linguistics, language is a system for communicating. Written languages use symbols, that is, characteristics, to build words. The entire set of words is a language's vocabulary. The ways in which the words can be meaningfully combined is defined by the language's syntax and grammar. The actual meaning of words and combination of words is defined by the language's semantics. When it comes to animal versus human, that is my dog, communication, contributors go to say, systems of communication are not unique to human beings. Other animal species communicate in a variety of ways. One is by sound. Another means of animal communication is by odor. I have to move to another room. A third means of communication is body movement. For example, used by honeybees to convey the location of food sources. Communication can be defined to include both signals and symbols. Signals and sounds or gestures that have a natural or self-evident meaning. There we go, sorry about that. Example of someone crying equals emotion, laughing equals emotion, animal cries indicating fear, food, or hunt. Animal communication tends to consist primarily of singles. You've already heard me use the term signal in my previous discussion of how horses communicate. I suggest that horse speak is in fact a form of language, not a new form of behaviorism. Behaviorism, as it applies to training animals, seeks only to gauge observable reactions or responses. In strict behavior theory, you cannot calculate the inner workings of the mind or emotions. Only measurable, that is, viable aspects of whatever an animal is doing. Behavior you want versus behavior you don't want is the basis of any training methodology. With enough coercion, consequence, or reward, animals can be coaxed into memorizing the patterns of behavior that we seek. For example, B.F. Skinner was a behaviorist who worked with operant conditioning, in which objects were offered levels of rewards from simple to high value, with clear indicators and markers to allow the subjects to know when they had completed the task. He was interested in reward-based conditioning because the pleasure response can overrule most inclinations to resist. There was a fascination with movable parts of machinery at the time, and the workings of life were linked to cogs in a wheel. Behavior was supposedly just groups of reactions and responses to stimulus, no more, no less. If this model was strictly true, then all horses could be trained using the exact same methods, and we would end up with the exact same results, cogs in a wheel. And we all know that that just isn't the case. Decoding versus encoding. Horse speak offers something different. Body language makes up something like 80% of all communication. There are whole sciences now dedicated to decoding human facial expressions, postures, and gestures, and frame-by-frame photography shows micro movements of the face that happen too fast to see with the naked eye, but that our brains interpret anyway. There are two main parts of the science of body language. Number one, decoding means the ability to process and understand the nonverbal cueing being sent to you. Number two, encoding is your message, how you express yourself nonverbally to others, with the hope that they can decode you. The first part of learning horse speak revolves around decoding, and the second part involves your ability to encode. The third stage is the synthesis of decoding and encoding. If they come together, then the conversation flows. Some of you will pick it up in a day, others may need a bit more time. However, I taught this to my equine-assisted learning groups for many years, and without fail, after one semester, everyone walked away with a good working knowledge of it.
Perfect. Thank you. We're going to stop there today. Thank you to my readers of getting us into this beautiful chapter of the philosophy of horse speak. And I think one of the keynote moments of this I mean, it's all really beautiful, and I have a lot of different underlying places. But this, the nature of language, and that's what we're talking about here, is we are practicing communication, right? And on page 19, and where Sharon is talking about the communication and operant conditioning, and we should be able to do a pattern of a method of thing, and then every horse is going to be able to do that thing, and every human can do that thing and get the same result. And that's where what we're doing with horse speak is we are basically letting you know about the gestures, postures, and signals of how to have interspecies communication. And who are you talking to? And who are you? Are you more X or you are more O person? Do you struggle making boundaries, or are your boundaries too quick and you're too big? And that is not in a judgment at all. It's just information about how we navigate in the world. And what works for one horse human combo, it may not work for another horse human combo. And if you have multiple horses, what works with one horse may not work with your other horse. And that's the thing that I think is so beautiful about what we're teaching. Because it does take some time to figure out who you are and how quickly that, if there's a big energy, how do you respond to that situation? Or if there's a moment where, the horse isn't walking with you, how do you respond to that situation? So, and that is, again, the goal is, there was a part, the why. I think it circles back around to a page over here. Yes, on page 14, like everything that is going on with your horse, get into the why. Learning to observe without a little note taker in the back of your mind, comparing everything to everything else, asking why. And all that takes practice. So yes, it is really about, the only way to truly learn this thing is by filming yourself and seeing the conversation unfold in front of you. There's so much happening, and there's so much that we are missing in the moment because we're looking at this horizontal animal that is like 6 to 8 feet long or even longer, right? And then we're just this beanpole in relation to this giant horse, and we're not used to looking at our peripheries. We may not be used to using our sense perceptions. We are mammals too, but because of modern conveniences, we don't have to go hunting, chop wood, carry water. And that's like not even that long ago, that's where we were. And we were sense perception machines. And now we're over here where we don't have to rely on that. We have houses, we have electricity, the water, you turn on a faucet, it's right there. The food, we go out and go to the store. Maybe, yeah, you might go fishing, you might do some hunting, but you're not reliant on that, right? So therefore, the way things were back then, we were more in touch with our animal nature, right? So another thing, in regards to this part of the reading on page 15, I really like how Sharon brought in, she was around a lot of sick animals, and because she wasn't feeling good, but regardless of that, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But she was able to learn how to handle animals in distress. And cats especially are very sharp, and if they get stressed, cat-like reflexes, right? So being able to hold an animal who doesn't feel well, or even hold an animal who, when you're practicing my lane, your lane, pause, please, stay on your side of the wall, please don't cross into my bubble, it's just a thing. It's not like, stay over there, horse, it's just like, no, thank you. Please keep your cheek over there. I'm little, I don't want to get stepped on by how much ever pressure their foot is, right? I don't know. I haven't looked that up. I'm sure there's a measurement of the amount of foot pounds that are going to crush your toes if you step in their lane, right? And the thing is, horses are never, ever trying to hurt us. Even when they're biting us because of reasons, because of most of the time pain over and over again. If we meet a biting horse, Zeke, who is in the first book, The Andalusian, he was working in a therapeutic riding center. He was biting handlers because he was in so much pain. He was being used multiple times a day, and he had a suspensory ligament injury. His ankles were hitting the ground. I mean, it was incredible. His ankles were huge. And he was so upset because he felt like crap, and they were going to put him to sleep. And we said, nope, we're going to take him. And we took him home, and it took him 6 months of just being a horse to then just really be able to trust the human race again. Because we were like, dude, you be you. And the way we had our situation set up, he had his paddock and it was big, so we didn't have to handle him. And it was just like, give him food, do his blanket, things of that nature, just like basic care. Be like, dude, you're on vacation, you got nothing. And because we witnessed him, and even when we were hired to work with him because he was biting, he was the guy who taught us, like, keep your cheek over there. How do you manage that in, these therapy sessions, which is a beautiful thing. And you might have to be working with these horses who are dysregulated. And that's, again, a whole nother rabbit hole that I'm not going to get into right now. right? So anyway, it's seeing the horse who they are in that moment. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to a peacemaker who might be a little bit hesitant and may not want to do the thing? You might have to activate buttons. Are you talking to a stoic mentor who is like, I need to be aware of my environment because of safety. And if I leave, the kids are going to run out in the middle of the street, right? Or are you talking to a pawn who is stuck basically, or peanut butter and jelly, and they're just totally reliant on another horse, that they're in the middle and that they need to be protected. And each of those three examples, I, as the horse handler, need to be adjusting myself in that way. So I'm going to get to the chat and then I'll bring in some other points. And again, please, if you would like to go on the audio, please raise your virtual hand, or you're invited to go into the chat. So Danuta says, I was just thinking that each horse needs a different level of X and O, different intensities, and we have to be able to switch from one to another with fluidity when we are with the herd. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is, just a second. And so therefore, we are needing to be able to flow into these different, who are you? Who are you talking to? Adjusting ourselves. So in Danuta, so true, my mule has a big level 4 that she whips out, but my gelding never matches it in energy, but he will put his pole way up high to give her a big X. And he uses a lot of really, really soft, low O. He never uses that big an X with me or that low, no. Cool observation. Kind of like New Yorkers, Italians, not to stereotype, and Midwesterners. Yeah, I mean, that it's true though. Like, I know there are stereotypes for a reason. And that's just a fact, right? Stereotypically, New Yorkers have a way. Stereotypically, Italians have a way. Southerners, Midwesterners, we do adapt to the region in which we live in. Like, and that's just the thing. That's like, we are patterning in our environment. And that is what we are making awareness to, is that we want to have our horse because we want to be their coach to pattern after us. And what does that mean? That means we might need to have some better awareness about our body, because the horse is mirroring us. And we can say, hey, Swishtail, I broke my back. Don't worry about my back. I know it's there. Don't mirror it. It's a thing, and I'm working on it. Or our knee, or our ankle, or our feet, whatever, right? It is just a thing that we have to be aware of. And just a second. There's this outside situation, and I just wanted to, anyway, sorry for the distraction. Trying to stay present and have the other things going on in the back room. And so the thing about what we're doing with Horse Speak, it does take practice, period. Like, that's the thing. I've said this in the other readings that I go to Germany at least 2 to 3 times a year. I have very, very basic words. I don't have a sentence yet. And I've been going there for quite some time. But the fact is, I haven't put the time in to learn. So I'm getting the results that I put into it. Basically, I can say, thank you, give me some water with lemon. I can say, where's the toilet? You know, like, it's super basic. It's enough to get by. And because in Germany and a lot of countries in Europe, everyone speaks English. So we can get away with not having to learn the language. With that being said, horses, you know, whatever you want to get out of this, and you can just be like, I'm just going to learn mechanics. Empathy, I'm not too sure about. I don't want to feel my body. I don't want to feel emotions, whatever. But if you're able to just do some basic mechanics that we're teaching, can change a lot, because what we're doing is hijacking basically our own nervous system with the gestures, postures, and signals that we're doing that create relaxation, right? So palm down, calm down on the lead rope, that creates a sense of balance within our body. Not dropping our hand below our belly button, whether we're riding or we are walking a horse on a lead rope, can keep better balance. It's all about balance. And if you just want to focus on physical balance, great. If you want to go deeper and learn more and have your nervous system be able to build more resiliency, then yeah, let's talk about empathy. Let's notice as I approach this horse, I have butterflies in my stomach. My head feels like it's going to pop. My shoulders are sore. Those are all nervous system on nervous system responses that we're having with another being. And that is the active awareness that we are practicing. And no one's going to be perfect, right? Like, please, this is supposed to be fun. That's the bottom line. Like, we are supposed to have fun with our horses. And there's, especially if you are in a position where you're at a barn and it's a public place, I'm with you. I have your back. I wish I could be there. And like, there's so many of our clients are getting, bullied by other people because they're trying to do what is right for their horse, what is right for their horse, their relationship, their life, right? And there's so many people who feel like everyone's a horse trainer and wants to give opinions. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not fair, right? Like, who are you to tell me? It's like trying to tell a person like what they're doing with their child, So it is slowing down, paying attention, being aware. Why is this thing? It's all about asking the question, why? Why? Is it me or is it you, horse? Did I mess up? I always look in the mirror first when I'm working with a horse and I get something like a response and I'm like, that didn't go over very well. What happened? What did I do? Was I out of position? Did I cut him off? Did I, cross the boundary line? Did I not pay attention to something that like maybe the little voice in my head be like, watch out for this. And I was like, it's fine. If you ever say in your head, because I'm just saying from my own experience, when I've said it's fine in my head, it's never fine. So be on a fine detecting place because yeah, that voice can be like, don't worry about it. It's fine until it's actually not fine in like 3 seconds. So Danuta, yes, horses are clever at learning our languages, but both words and physical cues, and they can learn different languages. My mom's dogs were always bilingual in English and Polish. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when we go to Germany, the horses are hearing German, but because of the feel of the words, they can understand English. They can. It's so amazing. And when I'm communicating with somebody and they think I look very German, when I'm there, I look like I'm a native and I'm very American, unfortunately. I'm like, I can either respond and be like, I can like perceive what they've said to me, or I'd be like, no Deutsch, like I don't speak the language. So it's profound because, and body language is body language, period, the end. If you're here, you could go anywhere on this in this world, the continent, whatever continent you're on, and talk to a horse. It doesn't matter where continent they live on. You can talk to horses. It's incredible. It's a true gift that we have, that we can, talk to horses and, pardon me. And it's just, the thing is that Sharon has over these years really wanted to keep integrity of the language, and that we need to slow down and not think that it's like cheek, neck, shoulder, girth, jump up, hip, magic, the horse is going to go. Okay. And we've been hesitant on putting out more and more training stuff because the bottom line is, if your horse is having some emotional challenges and physical challenges, there's no way, there's training, just throw that out the window because there's no space yet. Once we get through the emotional and the physical stuff, then the training is just right there. It's right there. Horses do incredible things on their own. They know how to do a rollback. They can pee off on their own. They can do all these things on their own. And we need to get out of their way and let them do these things. Or we need to adjust and learn how our body needs to be like, and a little lift from the jump up button. And sit forward, please. Fancy foot, lift that front foot and do a school halt, right? Like fancy foot. And that's a new thing that we're just discovered over the weekend about renaming the school halt, which is a fancy dressage thing. And so we're going to be navigating that because we're really seeing how horses, when they pay attention to their feet even more, and it's been a thing that we've been talking about, but when they slow down and pay attention to their feet, then if they are one of those go-y type characters, they can really pay better attention because it's all about our feet. Where are your feet? How are they pointing? Are you accidentally pointing to the left? And you're like, but why are you not coming with me? My horse is right here. Because you're cutting them off, right? So where are your feet? So I am going to read the chat. Violet, thank you. I especially like the distinction between horse speak communication and various training systems of training. Yes, we hope the horse will respond to us in a certain way. Oops, I just messed this up. But as the book states, training is all about the response, whereas communication is all about mutual understanding. That's beautiful. Thank you, Violet, for bringing that in. It is so true. What is better than finding a good listener? A doc who listens, a friend who listens, and horses just want a good listener and then a fun conversation, right? It is about fun. It is about the fun and deep listening. And that's the theme of this year. If you didn't know, that it's all about listening. Because I think a lot of us, if you've been with us for a while, we've learned to talk. We're talking to horses, but when we meet people, one of the things they're like, oh my gosh, I have to slow down, right? And so listening is where we have to slow down. We do the one thing, cheek, neck, shoulder, scoop at the girth, and wait a few seconds because they might need to rebalance themselves, right? Like if you're asking the left shoulder to come to you and all of their weight is on that shoulder, they either have to cross over on the right side and kind of lose their balance, or they have to rock back to lift that left shoulder and step wide. So that takes some time. It's a big, big body. And then again, if we're dealing with pain or emotional stuff, then it might take a little bit longer. So it's patience and slowing down. And that I have to slow down to say this word, anthropomorphic. Yes, that's a whole topic. And I underlined all those qualities. He knows what he should do. He's just being stubborn, right? Like, don't let him get away with it. He's trying to fool you. Their brain doesn't work like that. They're not trying to pull one over on you. They're not setting you up for failure. Horses are inherently lazy. You must get after them. They're not lazy. We've seen horses who are in pain, who clearly are in pain, and they still show up and do the thing. It's incredible. They maybe say, not yet. I'm not ready. I need to go over here. It's this mind-blowing thing because the horses are prey animals. And if they're running, it means they're running from something or they're feeling defensive about something. There has been a reaction to a stimuli in their environment. And maybe you're the stimuli, right? Like in my personal journey, I'm a basketball player, athlete. I am quick to get going. Let's go. Are we going to do the thing? And I have, especially in energy, and I'm feeling the other body, and the other body might hijack mine, and then I start going up too fast. Okay? Like it is, our nervous systems are responding to each other all the time. And the thing that we're doing with Horse Speak is bringing conscious awareness to the fact that your body's already doing a lot of things and everything means something. Everything means something. We are giving you like the decoder ring and giving you like letting you off the hook. Like this is a practice. You're not wrong. Okay? Like that's really the thing too. And then it just goes back to this word rapport. And it's really quickly, because we're almost out of time, is like when we look back at cavalry horses and back in the day when we chop wood, carry water, we were with our horses all day. All day. And so there was that rapport. We can't just show up once a week and demand relationship and that this horse should trust us, or we have a trainer who is putting in a lot of time with our horse and can ride the horse and do all this stuff, and then we show up and expect the horse to do the same with us. We haven't put the time in. They're like, who the heck are you? Oh yeah, you pay my bills and you show up and give me carrots, but where's our relationship? You know, that's really what it, you know, there's one place the desire for an obedient push button response from horses and ourselves when handling or riding them, when the relationship has not had the benefit of being cultivated and nurtured, is sure to be disappointed. Okay? The other part that I have found, there are many modern horsemanship techniques out there that promise a safe, willing horse if you follow their rules just right. However, safe and willing is not truly attainable if the horse has not given his heart over to you. The outside of a horse can certainly be drilled into compliance, but the inside of the horse is a whole other thing. So the challenge with horses, as Sharon has come to understand it, is that we want two opposing values to be reached. We want obedience, but we also want love. Obey me and love me are two entirely different expectations. Sharon has experienced horses who have incredible loyalty and would work for me all day long, but my goal is to also reach the inner self of those horses and create a situation in which their skin and their heart is in the game with me, not in obedience to me. This may sound like a picky word choice, but sometimes tiny shifts in awareness create a waterfall of change. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to change the way people see horses and understand them from an ethological perspective, which means from their perspective, their way of moving around the world, their healthy family system of navigating the herd. And that's, if you're here, you want change too. We're here to give horses a voice and help them have a better life. And in turn, you're going to have a better life too. Like with any relationship, it needs time and commitment. Yes, Danuta, absolutely. Horse Speak is the only truly horse-centered approach I have found. Thank you. It is. And that's what we, and with Horse Speak, are committed to, is this is for horses by horses. And when we are able to let go of some of these other preconceived notions, of those anthropomorphic sentences within these pages that we read today, just drop it and see them for who they are as a majestic being, it's going to change everything. So with that being said, thank you for being here today. We truly want to give you the gift that horses gave to Sharon, which is the exact and specific nuances of how our body language can communicate clearly in the moment with horses. And we just have to put the time in to learn how. Please check out our website if you would like to learn more about what we're teaching. May you enjoy the journey of learning horse speak and having fun while doing so. Take care, be well, and I love you. We'll see you soon. Till next time.